안녕하세요. magandang araw po. Welcome to the UP-KRC Global Korean Studies Roundtable today. I'm Minh Bae from the UP Korea Research Center, and I will be the moderator for today's event. Welcome everyone who joins UP-KRC this afternoon. First of all, let me briefly introduce UP-KRC to all of our audience. On April 27th, 2016, the University of the Philippines launched the Korea Research Center, aiming to provide Filipino scholars and researchers with opportunities to widen their interest in Korean studies. UP-KRC hopes to be a venue for students and professionals to produce meaningful comparative research and to promote collaborative partnerships among Korean and Philippine institutions. UP-KRC serves as a university-wide hub that helps promote and develop Korean studies in the university and also in the Philippines. We sponsor interdisciplinary and inter-college research and educational activities on Korean studies, as well as we facilitate the training of the next generation of Koreanists in the country. Today's event is one of the UP-KRC's Hello. Hello, everyone. So where should I restart? Pam, help me. Sorry for the disconnection.
Ma'am, you may start on reintroducing UP-KRC.
Okay, so I will just briefly go back to introduce UP-KRC. UP-KRC was established on April 27th, 2016, and we tried to be a venue for students and professionals to produce meaningful comparative research and to promote collaborative partnerships among Korean and Philippine institutions. We sponsor interdisciplinary and inter-college research and educational activities on Korean studies, as well as facilitate the training of the next generation of Koreanists in the country. Okay, so today's activity is one of our regular activities since last year. Under the overarching theme, UP-KRC is conducting a core research project entitled A Decade of Korean Studies in the Philippines, A Glance at the Past, A Gaze at the Present, A Glimpse of the Future, to look into Korean studies both in the Philippines and globally. So as part of this project, we invited panels today from Kazakhstan, Bulgaria, and Vietnam, who will share information on how Korean studies in their respective country has advanced and what challenges and opportunities are observed and how academic partnerships can be forged across regions and institutions. So hopefully we can all have a fruitful afternoon today. So let me just share each panel today, and then we will have individual presentation first by each panel. So the first panel we have today is Dr. Hoyoun Go Hoyoun 교수님. Dr. Go joined the faculty of Nazarbayev University in 2016 after completing his PhD in Government and Politics at the University of Maryland, College Park. He is currently leading the Korean Studies Center at Nazarbayev University. He specializes in conflict behavior, experimental research, and East Asia. He teaches courses on international relations, experimental political science, memory politics in East Asia, and quantitative method. And he is currently living in Astana with his lovely family. So let us welcome Dr. Go first for his presentation. Dr. Go, floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kyungmin Baek. 감사합니다. So without further ado, I will just start my slide to share what is happening in Kazakhstan, especially in my institute, Nazarbayev University, in terms of Korean studies. So let me start briefly about introducing my institution, Nazarbayev University, which is relatively pretty young university, which started in 2010. As you may notice, Kazakhstan is also authoritarian country, also under the heavy influence of the Soviet Union and its legacies. So in 2010, Kazakhstan government and Kazakhstan president at the time decided to initiate a new higher education reform, kind of a copy benchmarking Western universities, especially research-oriented universities. And that is how this university, Nazarbayev University, started in 2010. Well, for now, as of 2023-24, we have over 7,000 students, including about 1,000 graduate students, including PhD and master students. Well, the university is very competitive within Kazakhstan. Well, we often advertise that NU is one of the most competitive and the most capable university in Central Asia. The student acceptance rate is at 34%. So that means only 3 out of 10 students can be accepted to this university. So once students are accepted, then they are fully funded throughout their studies at the university. I have this slide on. Okay. Well, as this university started as a aspiring the global standard research university, we have established global partnership with more than a dozen top universities in the world, including US and UK and European universities. So some of those partnerships are still ongoing, and some of partnerships are have been expired as of 2024. However, the relationship has been pretty steady and strong. So we have continuous exchanges of students and scholars and faculty members for teaching and research purposes. About the faculty body of the university, we have at least 520 faculty members who are full-time professors. And then more than 60%, about 68% are international faculty members. And most of them are trained and also have a PhD doctor degrees from Western countries, including the United States. Unfortunately, we do not have tenure system in the country, so all the faculty members are serving on a contract basis. Sometimes we have a 3-year contract, sometimes 5-year contracts, depending on the renewal evaluations. Well, since this is a young university, we've never been in the global ranking system. Recently, however, we started ranking the Times Higher Education ranking. So in 2024, the university first appeared in the system as the top 30% research-oriented universities in the world. And among Asian universities, it's a bit higher ranking than this one. Okay, so about the Korean Studies Center at Nazarbayev University. So we started as a research group in 2018, and we got the overseas seed program from AKS, Academy of Korean Studies in South Korea. Through this 3-year program, we successfully founded this research center on Korean studies in 2019. And this is one of the first kind university-affiliated research institute or research center on social sciences and humanities. Since then, we have been offering courses on Korean studies across different departments, including political science department, economics, language department. And each year we have about 150 students taking those courses. In the center, we have 10 faculty members participating in this Korean Studies Center. 8 faculty members are affiliated with different departments in the Nazarbayev University, and 2 members are external members. And we are mostly conducting research about Korean studies, basically on social science topics like politics, sociologies, and economics. So since 2019, our members have produced and published more than 20 research papers in peer-reviewed journals, which is pretty successful in my understanding. And also we have been offering Korean Studies seminar series once a month. So in each semester, we offer 3 or 4 research seminar in which our center members, faculty members, present their recent studies, recent research outcomes, or sometimes we have external guest speakers to present up-to-date current studies research. And so far, we have organized 3 international conferences. 2 of them are one of the largest conferences in Central Asia, so Central Asian Conference on Korean Studies in 2020 and 2023. Unfortunately, in 2020, because of the COVID-19, the conference went on online. But in last year, 2023, we have in-person conferences on campus of Nazarbayev University. We don't have a Korean Studies department or specializing departments or offering majors Korean studies, but we only have Korean Studies Center, Research Center. So we try to bridge and connect ourselves to other institutes in the region. So we become the member of this Association of Korean Study Professors in Central Asia. And we also have been funded by Korean Foundation and Academy of Korean Studies. More details will be available on our Facebook pages and Instagram. And also we have website, which I forgot to add on the slide, but I will be happy to provide those links to our websites. These are some of the other activities that we are doing as a research center. So one series of events is called K-Talks at NU, in which students are invited to present their presentations, their experiences, and their thought about Korea and Korean studies. So so far we have 5 to 6 students, undergrad students, have presented their work about Korea. So for example, they share their emotions about the Korea or their experiences of Korea when they traveled to Korea or when they watch Korean movies, Korean films, dramas, and so on. I didn't have pages on the overall Korean studies status in the country, but I'm happy to take questions about that. But to briefly introduce Korean studies in the country, most of Korean studies in Kazakhstan is focused on Korean language education and humanities. So our research center is a bit different from the mainstream of Korean studies in the country. So we believe that we can be a good contribution to the existing body of Korean studies in Central Asia. Within Kazakhstan, most universities are located in Almaty, the biggest city in the country. But my institution is in Astana, the capital city of the country, which is located in the northern part of the country. So every year, once or twice each year, we have networking events, including students' conferences and Korean Studies Olympiad, in which students can show off their Korean language skills and speeches and writings. Okay, so that is all the pages that I prepared for today's presentation. So I'm waiting for your answers and fruitful discussions with other members today. Thank you.
감사합니다. Thank you so much, Dr. Ko. Maybe we can have some relevant questions with other two panels later. So let us welcome our second panelist today. Second panelist, Dr. Soyoung Kim Soyoung 교수님, is a visiting professor at Sofia University, St. Kliment, Ohridski, where she's been teaching since October 1995. She has been teaching various courses, including Korean language, translation, and traditional Korean music, samulori, among others. She was the proponent who created Korean Studies course curricula at Sofia University, and her extensive works are the outcomes of course materials, including textbooks, dictionaries, and so on. She obtained her doctorate degree in the same university, focusing on comparative analysis in Bulgarian and Korean languages. So let us welcome Dr. Soyoung Kim.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bae. Yes, here is my presentation. And I'm very nice to meet you. Today I'm very honored to have the opportunity to give this presentation to you. First, I would like to introduce myself briefly. It has been 34 years since I came to Bulgaria. Bulgaria is located in Balkan Peninsula. And these photos show Bulgaria in 1990, and today is this one. And over the past 34 years, Bulgaria has undergone many changes from transitions from socialism to democracy, and joining the EU in 2007. Bulgaria is a member of the Schengen area. Air and sea border controls have been abolished as of 1st March 2024. In March 1990, diplomatic relations were established between Bulgaria and South Korea, and after that, 3 students from South Korea came to Sofia University. I was one of them. I studied at Sofia University, and since the Department of Korean Studies was established at Sofia University in 1995, I have been teaching Korean language, translation, and others. Here, actually, here is Bulgaria. Now I'm here in Sofia. Yes. In 1992, the first courses in Korean language started at the Sofia University, Kliment Ohridski. Currently, 5 universities in the capital and the local areas, including Sofia University, have established and are operating Korean language courses, and 9 elementary, middle, and high schools also offer Korean language classes. In addition, the number of private academies that teach Korean language and the culture is gradually increasing. There are a total of 5 private academies in the capital city of Sofia. run by Koreans and Bulgarians. And there are also several Bulgarian foreign language academies that have established and are operating Korean language courses. In other universities besides Sofia University, students are studying Korean studies as a double major or taking Korean language and culture classes as electives. In middle and high schools, the 18th William Preston teaches Korean as a first foreign language from the first grade to the 12th grade. And in other schools, Korean is taught as an after a school class or as a second foreign language. And here you can see this map. On this map, Korean is being taught in 5 regions, and Sofia is here, and also Veliko and Plovdiv, and also Black Sea cities, Burgas and Varna. And there are many students and pupils now studying Korean language. And I want to talk about Sofia University. The Department of Korean Studies at Sofia University is playing an important role in leading the Korean language education craze, not only in Bulgaria, but also in the Balkan region. At first, in 1995, Korean Studies belonged to the Department of East Asian Studies, which also included Chinese and Japanese studies. In 2010, the Department of Korean Studies was officially established as the number of Koreanists on permanent position became 7. In most Western European universities, Chinese and Japanese studies hold a dominant position in comparison with Korean studies. But at Sofia University, Korean studies has an equal position or has developed faster and more actively than Chinese and or Japanese studies. It can be attributed to the hard work and effort of local staff and Korean lecturers, the active support of the Embassy of the Republic of Korea, and the support Korean institutions. At the moment, in the Department of Korean Studies, more than 72 students are studying. Undergraduate students are 70, and graduate students are 2. One of them studying for the master degrees, and one student is in the doctoral course. And this year, 19 students were admitted to the Department of Korean Studies after fierce competition. Students who were not admitted to the Department of Korean Studies transferred to other departments at Sofia University, such as the Department of Chinese Studies or Southeast Asian Studies. And then they applied to the Department of Korean Studies again. The reasons for entering the Department of Korean Studies have also changed significantly from the past. When the department was first established, more than half of students said they chose Korean Studies because they could not get into first choice Japanese studies. However, since 2010, there has been an increase in the number of students who entered the Department of Korean Studies because they were interested in the Korean wave or Asian culture, including Korea. Recently, there have also been cases of students transferring from the Department of Japanese Studies or English Studies to the Department of Korean Studies as freshmen to study Korean. The current 4-year undergraduate curriculum for the Korean Studies major at Sofia University consists mainly of practical Korean and Korean language and the Korean literature and the Korean regional studies, culture, history, and economics. As part of the graduate student of Korean studies continue to study in the master or doctoral courses of Korean studies is in Sofia University. The students who study in Korea usually select a different majors such as international relationship, economics, and etc. Unfortunately, in Bulgaria, there aren't many Korean companies, and that's why most of students work in companies which are not associated with Korea. But as interest in Korean language education grows, there are more and more cases of graduates or current students from Korean language department teaching Korean at the public schools or private Korean language and culture centers. This year, in June, Hyundai ENC signed a memorandum of cooperation and understanding with the largest construction group in Bulgaria, in Sofia, including for the construction of the new units at the Kozlodui nuclear power plant. It should lead to strengthening of the bilateral partnership with the Republic of Korea in high technologies and investments. Korean study students will be able to work in Hyundai as interpreters and administrative staffs, etc. Main events which have taken an important and decisive role of developing Korean studies in Bulgaria as follows. In July 1997, with the cooperation of the Korean Embassy in Bulgaria and with the support of KOIKA, Sofia University, exclusive 5 stories building was constructed, and it has been used as the center of Korean studies, which has facilities such as lecture rooms, language laboratory, computer room, seminar room, professor officer, and library. In 2003, Dr. Choi, who was a guest lecturer, organized the first international conference in Eastern Europe. Researchers of Korean studies from Poland, Hungary, Czech, and Korea participated in this conference. Based on this, CSOC, Central and East European Society of Koreanology, was established and has been organizing conferences once a year to this day. In October 2009, Sofia University established a Korean language course for common people. In October 2013, King Sejong Institute was established in Sofia University, and this course is integrated into the institute. More than 100 students are studying Korean language and culture. The passion of learning the Korean language is amazing, and in Saturday class, there are students who come to Sofia from the province in order to study the Korean language. In 2011, Sofia University and the Embassy of the Republic of Korea organized the first topic in the Center of Asian Culture and languages. Every year, about 95 Bulgarians and other people from Balkan countries take a topic. In 2011, the human resources of Korean studies at Sofia University are prepared to some degree. Then Sofia University and the Soyoung University started a collaborative research project of Korean Studies promotion service of Academy of Korean Studies. This included collecting the historical Bulgarian documents, analyzing them and translating them into the Korean language. There are a lot of Bulgarian historical documents which are connected with the Korean Peninsula. They are very important and valuable materials which helps us to understand the relationship between Bulgaria and North Korea in the Cold War. This is the event for a student of Korean studies. I want to conclude my presentation here. Thank you for attention.
감사합니다. Thank you so much, Dr. Soyoung Kim, for very comprehensive presentation and photos she showed us. So let us meet the last panelist, and then we will move on to roundtable after his presentation. So our final panelist today is Dr. Ruda Lee, Ruda 교수님. Ruda Lee is the director of the Center for Innovative and Strategic K-Culture Studies in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. He earned his master's degree from the College of Education at Seoul National University and his doctorate degree from the School of Arts at Peking University in China. He has also taught at Myeongji University in Korea, as well as Ho Chi Minh City University of Education and Van Hien University in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Dr. Lee's research interests encompass Hallyu, cultural industries, public diplomacy, soft power, and global Korean studies. So let us meet 이루다 교수님.
Can you hear my slide? Okay.
Yes, very well, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. 안녕하세요. My name is Ruda. I'm glad to be here as a presenter with Dr. Go and Dr. Kim today. And thank you to Director Dr. Bae for inviting me to this Global Korean Studies Roundtable. I'm interested in Korean studies and Hallyu from a public diplomacy perspective. Therefore, the center I currently run in Ho Chi Minh City focuses on these topics and promotes cooperation between Korea and Vietnam. Before coming to Vietnam, I studied for my doctoral degree in Beijing and also taught at a university. Therefore, to me, China and Vietnam are two important mirrors reflecting Korea, Korean studies, Hallyu, and who I am. Since 2019, I've been researching Korean studies and Hallyu using ethnographic methods in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. I taught Korean language and Korean culture at two universities in Ho Chi Minh City. Also, I have managed a Korean language Facebook group with about 2,000 members for about 2 years. Today, based on my observation, experience, and research, I will give a brief talk on Korean studies in Vietnam from two perspectives, not just focusing on one or two Vietnamese universities I worked at. Before my presentation, let me summarize it simply. There is no Korean studies in Vietnam. Here, Korean studies has three main conditions. First, universities must offer courses other than Korean language. Second, there must be specialized professors. Third, research activities must be included. By these standards, there is no Korean studies in Vietnam. Instead, I call it theatrical Korean studies, 극장 한국학 in Korean language. I will explain this term later. However, my argument is also limited and hard to generalize for three reasons. Firstly, it's a tentative conclusion based on partial observations. Secondly, it deserves a temporary state, not a permanent one. Lastly, it's an issue in Vietnam, but not unique to Vietnam. It's an inevitable problem at any stage of development. However, despite these limitations, my bold claim that there is no Korean studies in Vietnam aims to identify the issues for the long-term development of global Korean studies and to open a platform for discussion. Then let's get started. First, Korean studies, expanding or collapsing. From the perspective of expanding Korean studies, it's growing rapidly in Vietnam. According to a 2024 survey by the Korean Embassy in Vietnam, there are a total of 46 universities in Vietnam with Korean language departments or majors, with a total of 25,110 students. When dividing Vietnam into the North, Central, and South regions, there are 19, 7, and 20 universities, respectively. Especially in the South and North regions, where many Korean companies are located. Most of the Korean language departments are concentrated. This rapid growth of Korean studies in Vietnam is closely related to Vietnamese fast economic development and Korean investment, which is connected to employment opportunities. Next, from the perspective of collapsing Korean studies, there are issues beyond the increase in Korean studies, departments, and students. One big problem is the wide range of Korean language proficiency among students. In any major, there are differences in skill levels, but compared to Chinese language departments, students learning Korean have a weaker attitude. The gap between the top and bottom levels of Korean language skills is large, and there are few students in the middle. Many students initially choose Korean studies because they are interested in Hallyu or the Korean language. But many give up learning Korean halfway. I call these students 한포자, who give up on Korean language. This issue is not just a personal problem, but it's connected to various structural problems. So I won't go into detail about it today. Second, theatrical Korean studies, 극장 한국학, Korean studies without Korean studies. I currently define Korean studies in Vietnam as theatrical Korean studies. The Korean studies we talk about is intellectual activity done at universities. However, in Vietnam, Korean studies is currently focused on one-time events like K-pop, K-pop dance, and making kimbap to attract students to universities and match their interests. This might be seen as an overstatement, but to show the problems clearly for long-term development, it's necessary to view Vietnamese Korean studies as theatrical Korean studies Of course, there is also hope that Vietnam will solve these problems by itself and develop Korean studies in the future. I hope discuss my research and thoughts from two main perspectives and connected them to Vietnam. I hope you find some issues in my talk that can develop into research topics in Korean studies. This concludes my presentation. Thank you. 고맙습니다.
감사합니다. Thank you very much, Dr. Ruda Lee, to discuss briefly, but also as he himself mentioned in his bold statement, he assessed the Korean studies in Vietnam, how he observed and what kind of phenomenon is witnessed in higher educational institution. So we can sum up while we talk to our three panelists. So can we call on Dr. Go, Dr. Kim, and Dr. Lee, all of you on the screen together? And I'm not very sure, but if my screen is a bit blurry or if I'm lagging a little, don't worry. It's just my connection in the office is not very strong. So I will just keep coming back. So don't worry about me. What I was jotting down, I can just insert in the middle of our discussion, because I also shared with our panelists some points that we will discuss today. And also, I just, while I was listening to all of you, I was just writing some questions. But when we have some question, it's a common question. So anyone, any of you can lead to answer. And then if you want to butt in, you can also just join the conversation, and it can be very free-flowing conversation. So since we have talked about Korean studies, including the language and all, maybe we can start to revisit higher education institutions, how Korean studies gained higher popularity or awareness in HEIs in recent years in Kazakhstan, Bulgaria, and Vietnam. And if you have any additional observation, how Korean studies really gained kind of awareness, your people, like locals in each country.
I can look at this from both cultural and economic perspective. Firstly, cultural speaking, in recent years, due to the influence of Hallyu, Korean studies has gained higher popularity in Vietnamese universities. The widespread popularity of Korean pop culture, including K-pop, K-dramas, and Korean movies, has greatly increased interest in learning about Korea among Vietnamese students. Secondly, economically speaking, the establishment of Korean companies in Vietnam and the subsequent demand for Korean-speaking professionals have further raised the popularity of Korean studies programs. The presence of these companies creates employment opportunities for graduates who are proficient in Korean, making Korean studies a practical and attractive field of study. It's my opinion.
Yes, Dr. Go, if you want to add anything.
Yes, so from my own observation in Kazakhstan, I see that many universities, especially the newly founded universities, are interested in inviting Korean professors and also create and organize Korean studies programs at least. Well, unfortunately, my institution is not that much interested in Korean studies. We only have research center. So one anecdotal episode is that we have a very new university in the same town as Ghana here. Um, this university is a private university, is founded by one of the biggest company in the country. Uh, and this university is very aggressively, very proactively engaging in hosting the Korean studies program. So they started Korean language courses, and they also installed the Korean corner at their main library system. Well, to speak about my institution, we do have a lot of students who are highly interested in Korean language, of course, thanks to the Korean Way or Hallyu. We do have a lot of student activities, which is one of the most attractive one. For example, the K-pop cover dance concert, uh, and even the principal, the president of the university participate in this concert every year. So other than that, I believe that the Korean studies are more active in Almaty, this the largest city in the country, and we have about at least 400 undergraduate students who finished their bachelor's with the Korean studies major. So that shows that the number itself shows that how the interest and popularity in Korean studies in the country. As we will discuss, I believe later, there are also some challenges because of we do not have many Korean companies who can actually hire those graduates who major in Korean studies.
Yeah, I think what Dr. Ko mentioned in terms of employment, maybe after this we can raise the question once again. But let us hear from Dr. Kim first if you have witnessed any awareness raising among the institutions or students themselves about Korean studies.
I think at the beginning, our students, I mentioned it in my presentation. Their first choice was Japanese studies, and then they were not accepted, and that's why they chose Korean studies. But maybe 15 years from 15 years ago, and then uh, Hallyu is because of Hallyu, many Bulgarians like Korean culture and also language, and that's why in our department, many students want to enroll Department of Korean Studies, and but even though in Bulgaria there are not many Korean company, there is just one Korean company, and maybe in October, Hyundai will invest, but until now we don't have many Korean companies, and that's why I asked my students and also student of Institute Sejong why you want to study Korean language and the culture, and they said I like Korean dramas and songs, and but not only this, but also they want to know Asian culture. And Bulgarians, in principle, usually they like to learn foreign language. Yeah, and that's why some of them want to study Korean language.
I think what Dr. Ko mentioned is related to two other professors' statement And then I can just quickly ask Dr. Go once again, because you mentioned your students are quite passionate in organizing quite various cultural activities. So do you think this bottom-up process, like students themselves are showing their eagerness to study or to show their own interest in Korean studies, has some positive chain reactions in your school? How do you see it?
Yes. So on one side, I feel very sorry for my students because we do not offer Korean Studies program, Korean Studies major. And also, I have seen this long-term bottom-up or build-up of this students-based interest in Korea. Again, this is mainly interest in Korean pop culture, right? So the K-pop, K-drama, and K-films. And in my experience, Korean studies is slightly different. So when we talk about this academic arena, and students are often facing the some of the obstacles because we do not have major program. So they can only take courses. Well, all courses in our university, in my university, is taught in English. So they take courses about Korean politics. I offer courses about North and South Korean relations and memory politics in East Asia. So only those courses are available for those who are really interested in academic-wise Korean studies. The second thing is, so again, we do not, I personally do not see very bright future for those who actually study Korean studies. So I had a couple of students who do their master's thesis about Korea. They got opportunity to travel to Korea with a fund from Korea Foundation or AKS. But after return, it is not very happy story because when they return from their masters or PhDs from South Korea, most of high education institution in Kazakhstan do not pay well for faculty members, except for very few universities. So most graduates who study Korea or Korean studies, they just, I think I lost Dr. Ben. Okay.
Dr. Bay is not here. She disappeared.
So we lost her again.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a same problem in Bulgaria, and the professors' salary is very low, and it's low than the teachers' salary. And that's why my students, when they come back to Bulgaria after
Yeah.
their master degree and doctoral program,
Yeah.
and they don't want to work as a professor because of low salary, and that's why it's a problem for Eastern European countries and also Central, maybe Central Asian countries. The salary is lower than ours, maybe,
Yes.
because here professors get about 500 or 600 euros, yeah, and 1 million won. And it's very low. Yeah.
Yes. So if we think about those who have lived in South Korea, so our students, the GKS scholarship, and they go to Korea and live there for a couple of years, and then well, if they got some jobs in South Korea, they found that it is much higher than in Kazakhstan, so they wouldn't come back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we lose a lot of very smart and competitive students who actually can teach and reshape and leading the Korean studies in the country.
So because earlier Dr. Kim also mentioned Dr. Lee, in case of Vietnam, he also mentioned those Vietnamese students who take up Chinese language show higher proficiency. And also Dr. Kim mentioned through studying Korean language or Korean studies, your students also expand their interest in other Asian cultures, right? And then I missed a little of your discussion, but do you think, based on this, do you think there's an imbalance in pursuit of Korean studies when students want to choose Korea among other area studies? Or
The connection. Connection is bad.
Sorry, Doctor, but the question was for me or for?
anyone can answer.
I can hear you, Dr. Bay.
Can you hear me?
Now, yes.
Yes. So I can repeat the point of my question, because we talked about how students are enthusiastic and they also pursue Korean studies, while in Nazarbayev University, there's actually no major, no course offered, but students still show very passionate pursuit of learning about Korean. So, do you think there's any imbalance between their interest and outcome, or what you try to achieve?
Yes. So as I said earlier, we do not have major or departments for Korean studies. So compared to the high level of students' interest and their enthusiasm, I feel really sorry for the students. I found one of the interesting observations is most students who are taking courses about Korea, either Korean language or Korean history, Korean politics, are female students. So I don't know if that's the case with in other countries, but in this country, the overall sentiment is, well, Korean is for women, and the Turkish is for boys. So a lot of male students, if they major languages or they're interested in learning foreign languages, they choose to learn Turkish. But the girls and female students, they are willing to choose Korean languages. So that's one interesting kind of imbalance in terms of gender distribution. In terms of input and output, yes, again, so for those students who are really interested in Korean studies, I recommend them to apply for graduate school in South Korea through GKS program or KOICA program and other scholarship programs. This year, we have 75 Kazakh students, including my university, received this GKS scholarship. But again, I'm pretty doubtful that how many of them are willing to return to Kazakhstan to teach Korean studies in any other universities here. So that kind of a vicious cycle. So we do have some smart students who major Korean studies, but they don't come back. So we have manpower issue offering Korean studies programs in the country.
How about you, Dr. Kim, in Bulgaria? Because among all of us, you've been in the country for the longest time. So, do you see the succession or continuity of next generations has been active?
Yes, I'm positive at this point. And we talk about the salary of professors in Bulgaria and also in other countries. And I think this is a big problem for students who graduate from university in Eastern Europe and also in Central Asia, but I think our students they really eager to study Korean language, and even though in Bulgaria there is only one Korean company, but now many people want to study Korean language, and that's why I mentioned it. There are many centers and schools where my students teach Korean language, and they also online they give individual lecture, individual Korean class online. And also I organize many cultural events, and I and also my colleagues, and because I think it's very important to our students to be in our department to study Korean studies. And for example, every year and also in this year, I will go to Korea in Jindo, and with 11 students. We will have a Jindo dance course, and also we have activities with other Koreans and many things, and I think it's very important. And I organize with my students a Korean Culture Day, and in this way we can provoke, and we can our student can be Koreanist and Korean to be in our department. And after that, after graduation, and some of them go to Korea, but but they don't want to come back to Bulgaria. And if they can find some job, but it's very difficult for our students to find some good job in Korea, and that's why they come back. Some of them come back. Yeah. And this one also in the same in Kazakhstan, and we have female students, many female students. I think usually female students, women like to learn foreign language, and maybe quickly, more quickly than men, and that's why. And we have many 90% of our students are female. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the situation is quite similar in the Philippines as well. Mostly when we offer Korean language or Korean studies courses, mostly female, and maybe 5 to 10% of the whole class is male students. Yeah, I think that there's a certain influence. Just to wrap up this first question, I can just ask Dr. Lee one question, because unlike in Bulgaria, Kazakhstan, and even in the Philippines, some relatively employment opportunities in Korean companies is not very common. But it's quite evident that Vietnam is one of the biggest, how to say, employment pool that Korean companies exist quite vastly in across Vietnam, right? So how do you see the graduates really grab the chance to work, or are they more inclined to work in the academy?
Actually, there are many Korean companies, big or small. So most students after graduation, they are easy to get a job. So that's why many students want to learn Korean. But there are also one of the problems. If someone speaks Korean very well, he or she doesn't want to be a professor or teacher because salary is so low. So it's one of Vietnamese Korean studies problems in the future. But anyway, there are many Korean companies in Vietnam. So after graduation, most of the students easy to get a job nowadays.
Yeah, okay. I think it's quite interesting in terms of imbalance, how the Korean studies input and output in employment and pursuing the major or even thinking of career after graduation is quite different in three countries and or four countries including the Philippines. Maybe the next question we can move on to talk about some research trends. I'm also curious if there's any trends in Korean studies research in your country or in your respective institution, because there could be some particular exchanges or collaborations between local and Korean or among your international Korean studies scholars, like Dr. Ko also mentioned in his presentation, like the Association of Korean Studies scholars in your region is quite actively participating in conferences and all. So if there's any particular research trends or agenda, how do you see this will also continue in certain directions or lead to more fruitful outcomes in the future? Maybe we can start with Dr. Ko, if it's okay with you.
Yes. So speaking of the research in Korean studies within Central Asia, yes, we do have this annual conference that Korean study professors are all convened in one place and then exchange their studies and their research. From observation from those conferences, I see at least three big trends in Korean studies in Central Asia. The first one is highly interest in teaching methodologies. So in teaching, it's mainly about language education. So how can we improve the teaching technique, Korean language teaching technique for Russian speakers or Uzbek speakers and so on. So those major universities in Almaty, Tashkent, and Bishkek, they have authored some textbook for Korean language education for individual language groups within their country. So Uzbek speakers, Kazakh speakers, Kyrgyz speakers, and so on. And recently, the research on teaching is also evolved on the issue of online courses, because of the COVID experience have changed the pedagogical structure, pedagogical processes here as well. So teachers and professors are interested in how do we increase the efficiency of teaching Korean language, well, of course, other languages through online methods. The second research topic is ethnic Koreans in the region. So as you may know, that there are a lot of ethnic Koreans in Central Asian countries during the 1930s. So the forceful displacement of ethnic Koreans from Russia to the Central Asian region. So that's the second topic. And the third topic is about the individual countries' relationship with South Korea. So, for example, Central Asia, Kazakhstan and South Korean economic cooperations or policy experiences of South Korea. So many scholars and policymakers in Kazakhstan are interested in how South Korea could achieve this fast and rapid economic development. So studies about Saemaul Undong or studies about the community building or civil society in my field. These studies are also actively pursued in many scholars in Central Asia. Well, to wrap up, I think that one of the biggest obstacles is, again, the salaries for scholars in Central Asian countries. So the professors they do not have enough time to invest in research, but most of them are investing their time in teaching courses. Otherwise, they cannot create enough money for their from their job and their works. So that kind of trading of their investments to research, so that reduces the research capabilities for many scholars in Kazakhstan, at least. Yes, so that's what I see in Kazakhstan's current studies research trend.
Yeah, very useful to know how you really evaluated in 3 points. How about in Bulgaria, Dr. Kim, if you have any other observations?
In Bulgaria also professors have some problem with their salary, and that's why they have two or three jobs actually, and they are working as a translator. Also, some of them, or some of them teach Korean language in high schools. That's why they don't have enough time to spend for about their research. And even though we have once a year conference, international conference, and the research field is I think about three things, and one of them is teaching Korean language, and also translation and Korean culture, and many students, PhD students, are interested in Korean culture, and they prepared for their dissertation about Korean culture. And the second one is I and my colleagues collected many archive documents about North Korea and South Korea. Most of them connected with North Korea, and we translated them, and we published a book catalog, and also and a photo book, and students, some of them also are interested in archive documents, and they want to analyze these documents, and the third one is Bulgarian professors and researchers are interested in online courses. It's the same as Kazakhstan. I think maybe in the Academy of Korean Studies, they gave fund to 11 or 10 Korean universities to make some online lectures. And lectures about Korean studies, and it's not for students in Korea. It's for students abroad, students who are professors, and that's why Sofia University professors are interested in this course, these lectures, and we are thinking how we can use this program, these online lectures. Yeah. Thank you. This is of Sofia University.
Yeah, I think there's somewhat similarity between Kazakhstan and Bulgaria, right? Because there's quite a lot of research made on pedagogy, because obviously, language is one of the primary means students are really getting into Korean studies. But also, earlier in your presentation, Dr. Kim mentioned there are quite a lot of very useful Cold War materials that are valuable for researchers, both for Korean and Central East Asian or European scholars. So I think when it comes to North Korea related research, I think your university should really produce very high quality dissertation by your students. If Dr. Lee can also share any research trends or anything you think what is emerging in the academy in Vietnam.
Generally, large and small academic conference, as well as workshops on Korean literature translation or Korean language teaching methods are being held with the support of KF, some Korean foundations or companies and universities. But I think there is one of a problem in these early stages of development. Research activities are still mostly supported by external sources rather than being organized independently. I think it's one of the problem in Korean studies in Vietnam.
Yeah, it's also quite similar. I don't know about in Central Asia or Europe, but since we also mentioned like the funding agencies such as the Korea Foundation or Academy of Korean Studies, where we have some vast budget or some grant we receive from Korea, and I think Dr. Lee's critical point is valid because at the end of the day, there should be some money or resources to run the program or to continue the research, right? So maybe lastly, before we gather some questions from our audience, we can talk about prospects, how to foster future Koreanists in your respective countries, especially how you see in terms of promoting Korean studies further in the future, in sustaining the current status of Korean studies in each country. And also, if you can also share any particular challenge in sustaining your current program or center, maybe we can share the common problems. So this will be our platform to come up with how we can really work together in the future after this roundtable. So this time, can I call Dr. Kim first for Bulgaria?
I think it's very important cooperation with between universities in Asia or in Europe or in America. And I mentioned these online lectures, and maybe Korean professors in Korea, they can make online lectures, but also in Europe, some professors can make lectures, online lectures. I think Korean professors, they some of them can give their lecture in English, but most of them they don't, and that's why this is problem. And they made online lectures, and they sent us these online lectures, but they are in Korean, and there are subtitles with English, and I think, and that's why, and maybe it's better, and professors in Europe and in other countries, in abroad, have to how can I say, take a part, participant in this process. to making online lectures. And in before coronavirus, we don't have online lecture. I don't know, maybe in Vietnam and in Kazakhstan also. Do you have any online lectures before coronavirus? We don't have in Sofia University. We don't have, and teachers, professors, and students didn't like online lectures. But during coronavirus, we had to give a lecture and meet through the Zoom. And now our students got used to used with these online courses, and that's why I think we can work together. Yeah. It's my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's really true. And Dr. Kim, have you participated in those collaborations? Like, I'm also aware some Korean universities also produce like MOOC or KMOOC lecture series, right? Have you also joined any of those?
No, not yet. They actually, the professors from Korea University came here. They want to promote their online lectures. Yeah, but maybe in future.
Yeah, I think that's really true because especially after the COVID-19 pandemic, we really saw that there's pros and cons, and we could really collaborate through online space. How about Dr. Lee? If you have any insights on prospects and challenges.
First, I want to mention about prospects to foster future Koreanists. Firstly, Vietnam needs to train scholars to look at Korean studies from Vietnamese view. So, Korea's support should help Vietnamese Korean studies become independent. This support should include more than just money and also have academic exchanges. It's important not to focus financial support on specific people or institutions to avoid misuse. And secondly, while supporting professors and researchers is important, it's even more important to focus on the students who are the future generation. Even though not all students will become researchers, it's essential to give them experience in Korean studies during their studies. Korea's support should aim to improve their critical thinking and literacy skills. And lastly, academic exchanges and joint research between Korean and Vietnamese researchers should be encouraged. For this, funding from Korea is necessary. Korean researchers can understand Vietnam better through these activities and develop new ideas in Korean studies. And we are talking about online course from Korea. I want to point to one problem. KF provide online lectures to foreign universities, but I think KF or another Korean foundation give opportunities to excellent non-tenured lecturers or PhD students in Korea, not just the full-time or retired professors. I think it's to help develop Korean universities. Maybe there is no developing Korean studies in Korea. Outside Korea, it's also very difficult to develop Korean studies, is my opinion.
Yeah, I think what Dr. Lee mentioned for the second part of our discussion, how the overseas universities can really be self-sustained institutions to carry out their Korean studies program is very important. And then his point that it's not just about financial support, but how to help. Like it can be like win-win strategy, like Korea is giving assistance while overseas university is also being independent, and they can really sustain their own programs, is also very crucial to hear from him. How about Dr. Ko, from you?
Yes, I think I explained a lot already about the situation in Kazakhstan about Korean studies. So I just want to wrap up with some of my ideas, possible suggestions, or some challenges I see most critical to development of Korean studies in Kazakhstan. Well, the first point is we have to have a more stable way to secure fundings. Okay. Without funding, we cannot offer courses, we cannot conduct quality research. So comparing with the Japan Foundation or other foundations or funding agencies like a China or German agencies, so Korea is very small in size, first of all, and very limited in terms of defining who is eligible to apply for fundings in South Korean agencies. So that's one thing I see as a big obstacle of challenges. Second thing is, well, speaking of the research within Central Asian region, I see one problem is, well, I'm not saying that this is a huge problem, but because of the situation, because of the environmental, the structure of the academia here, so the internationalization of research is pretty much behind. So when it comes to European Koreanist or Eastern European Koreanist, they do engage in international academia for research exchanges. But in Central Asia, scholars and professors are only exchanging within Central Asian countries. So I think one of the big reasons is the language. So they are more comfortable with conducting research in Russian, but not very comfortable in English, which is the dominant language in academia. So that's one of the reasons I see why the internationalization of Korean study research is pretty much behind in Central Asia. So that being said, I think some suggestions could be made. So one is we can develop more intensive networkings with, well, not just within the region, but also inter-regional networkings, like a Central Asian Association and Southeast Asia, or Eastern Europe. So we do recently start having this networking with Turkey, Yergias University, and then we also have connections with some of Korean universities, but these are pretty much limited or just the short-term exchanges. So I want to see more stable and long-term planned networkings with the other regions. So also Professor Kim and Professor Lee talking about the online system. So one of the problem, at least in my institution, is we do not allow online teaching if that teaching material is provided by external agencies. So if we teach online as an employee of this university, it's okay. But if someone else, like a Korean university, offering these online courses, we do not allow this as a regular credit courses. So that's one thing I believe. I'm talking this issue to Korea Foundation and AKS, all the funding agencies in Korea. So I hope they are somewhat aware of the limitations of just giving or planting these online courses developed in Korea into some of university in Kazakhstan. So if we wanted to have online teaching, then we have to develop new platform, new program that is mainly conducted by the local faculty members in connection with the Korean faculties. In the future, I think Kazakhstan has more interest, growing interest in having more Korean studies or Korean experts, because now I see a lot of Korean companies start or restart their investment in Kazakhstan, given this Ukraine-Russian conflict. So the companies cannot get in Russia. So many countries choose Kazakhstan as an alternative destination of their investment. So that is being happening. So I believe that we need more people who can speak Korean language, who understand Korean culture, who is aware of Korean politics, Korean history, and so on. So that's one thing I see. So I hope that we receive more investments in education as well.
Okay, very well said. And Dr. Ko, I just have a really quick follow-up question, because you said your university offers all the courses in English. Is it correct?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so does it mean your students are already very fluent in English before admission?
Yes. So all the students who wants to come into my university, they have to submit their English test scores. That's one of the requirements. And if students' English is not satisfactory, they have to spend 1 year in we call it foundation year. So in 1 year foundation program, they sharpen their English language skill, including writing and speaking. And then they can choose their major, and then they go to their individual department.
Okay. In relation to this, Dr. Kim, in your university, because you are Korean national, but you also have Bulgarian colleagues, how do you do? Is there any system you divide courses that you are in charge of this certain course, and your Bulgarian colleagues will teach certain course?
Yes, for example, practical Korean language, there are 12 hours a week, and half of them, 6 hours, usually Korean lectures to teach Korean speaking and listening, and the other parts like writing and also reading. It's Bulgarian professors teach, and also I teach with the Bulgarian professor translation, and then she gives a lecture about theory of translation, and with me practical things, translation, yeah. And I wanted to ask Dr. Wei, could you give some information about the status of Korean studies in Philippines? Do you hear me or no?
Which one, Professor?
Hmm?
I couldn't just hear the last part.
Information. I want to get some information about the status of Korean studies in Manila or Philippines.
Okay. Maybe I can just briefly say right now, but I can also share after this roundtable through email. In our university right now, in my home unit, Department of Linguistics offers Korean language because our department is offering Philippine linguistics. So students who will choose BA linguistics can have Plan C Korean. It's kind of minor program because students are given 36 units of Korean language. So from freshman year up to usually third year, they can finish 12 courses of Korean language programs. And also we have for undergraduate students, we have Center for International Studies that offers elective courses. But we also share a good news. Just this morning, in the University Council, we have approved the proposals for Korean minor in Korean studies. So at least we will have two formal courses. Undergrad students can take minor in Korean studies, hopefully from next year or next semester. And then for master's students, we have MA in Asian Studies, and then they can choose Northeast Asian track because they have China, Korea, Japan. So if they choose Korea, unfortunately, their diploma will just say MA in Asian Studies. They don't really say Korean Studies because it's not really a legitimate major, but it's just specialization. So what we aim in our university in particular is when students take up undergraduate courses, they can also continue in MA. And then if they want to pursue higher studies, they can also try GKS or go to Korea or even other disciplines so they can produce at least Korea-related dissertations. So this is our university's case because this is the state university and we have some private universities in other regions and cities. So I think compared to Kazakhstan, Bulgaria, and Vietnam, like the cases you just shared today, Philippines, in terms of numbers, we have fewer institutions, but I think we are also having we are just trying to have some unique development within some limited environment. Yeah, but with all three of you, I will share some more information after this roundtable. So before we wrap up, I can also ask Dr. Lee because we know that Vietnamese universities are offered really extensive Korean language programs in particular. So have you advised or have you met lots of students who wrote their thesis or dissertations in Korean based in Vietnam?
Before I talk about that question, can I reply your one of the student? Her name is Cami De Leon. Is your student, Dr. Bay?
Yeah,
she is
you can also answer.
Because I really respect her attitude. He wrote in Korean. 안녕하세요, 교수님들. 혹시 한국학 학생들로부터 어떤 연구 주제를 보고 싶으십니까? I really love her attitude and enthusiastic. So can I say in Korean to her? I think it's good for her learning Korean. So
Actually, that after this one, I know.
So
yeah.
So
Continue.
I want to tell her about Hallyu. I want to tell her about Hallyu. Hallyu is a Hallyu Korean studies. To advance Korean studies, we need to rethink about Hallyu. First, Hallyu started as a trend, but now its a culture around the world, especially in Asia. So many people ask the question, how long will Hallyu last? I think it's a long question. It's long from the start. Also, finding the roots of Hallyu in Confucian culture from the Joseon dynasty has limits. Hallyu is a mix of different countries and cultures, but it should be viewed mainly through South Korea's growth as a nation state. Therefore, the origin of Hallyu is the Republic of Korea, not Joseon dynasty. Hallyu needs specific topics for study to become a research subject or academic field. For example, if you want to research about Korean studies, especially Hallyu, for example, is K-pop the same as Korean pop music, 대중가요, or 가요 in Korean? The K in K-pop can be a significant research topic. So by analyzing Hallyu from various angles, especially if you are Vietnamese or Philippine, your country's contexts, see Korean studies or Hallyu. So Hallyu can become a part of Korean studies. And Korean studies finally can enter a new stage of development. So if you want to research Korean studies or Hallyu, first, from your viewpoint or your country's context, see Korean studies or Hallyu is good for your research. It's my reply to your excellent student. 카미 델론. Thank you. 고맙습니다.
Thank you, because actually when we wrap up this, we were about to start open forum, and it was one of the questions I wished to ask all of you. So Dr. Lee just replied first, and then Dr. Kim and Dr. Ko, do you also anticipate any research agenda or research topics from your students which you haven't really seen enough yet, or you look forward to from your students? Maybe Dr. Ko, if you have.
Yes. So, well, first of all, I don't have many students who are doing their master's or doctor's degree in focusing Korea. But I only have a few examples in the past. But in general, as I explained earlier, the one of the main research topic in Korean studies in this division is ethnic Koreans, so Korean studies. One thing I do not see very often, so I want to see more, is there are not many studies done about the fourth or fifth generations of ethnic Koreans in Central Asia. So many scholars, who are already seniors in Kazakhstan, also in South Korea, so they studied about the historical backgrounds, origins of these ethnic Koreans, ethnographic studies. Yes, I think it's already almost well covered many aspects of ethnic Koreans, but I do not see many studies doing what the current generation of ethnic Koreans and their descendants are suffering from, or what they are thinking about Korea, about their own identities, or even their political preferences, political views about international conflicts, and so on. So these are not well theorized, not well studies in relative terms. So that's one thing I would recommend if you are in Kazakhstan, if you are interested in study Korea issues. But again, in general, I completely agree with Professor Lee that we have to encourage our students to bring their own thought, their own perspectives based on their own context, on their milieu, so that they can provide a new perspective about Korea and Korean studies. If Korean study is only done by Koreans or ethnic Koreans, I think there is no future for Korean studies. So we need more international scholarship in Korean studies. And then Professor Lee's point is excellent thing. I want all students here wants to remember. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. What about Dr. Kim?
I think I recommend my student to write about the differences between Korean and Bulgarian culture, and I think it will be very interesting for Koreans also, and for foreign students compare their language or culture with Korean culture and language. And also, I talked about these archive documents, and my students are interested in these documents, and they, some of them, some of them want to write about relationship between Bulgaria, North Korea, and South Korea. And it's very interesting. And after outbreak of Korean War, and many North Korean children came here to live, and not only in Bulgaria and other countries, and in Germany, Romania, Hungary, and Czechoslovakia, Poland, and and that's why we will compare this situation, these things, and it will be very interesting. And if some students to write about relationship between Philippines, I don't know, maybe Philippines, they also have some established diplomatic relationship with North Korea, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Philippines used to have, but they abolished it, and then that's why these days in Southeast Asia, it's usually Thailand or Vietnam that would assist or collaborate when it comes to refugees or North Korean asylum seekers. But
Yes.
I fully agree with Dr. Kim as well, because that's one of the topics that Filipino graduate students are into. They are really so much into North Korean issues because, when in foreigners' perspective, they wish to know what's going on inside in domestic Korean peninsula. But because of language barrier, because most Filipino scholars are not very fluent in Korean language, so they sometimes use second-hand resources, because in the Philippine academic situation, mostly it's English. So that's one of the obstacles that they cannot really access all the materials as much as they wish to. But North Korean issues is in terms of different perspectives. That's also quite interesting, and maybe our students can also see what is being studied by Bulgarian scholars, so they can have some exchange of ideas, I think. Yeah. Thank you so much. I think we have just two more questions. So let us see the first question. Anyone can answer this question. How many units are required for Korean Studies program in your respective universities, if there are any? Because earlier Dr. Kim, I mean Dr. Ko mentioned his research center doesn't offer credit courses, right, Dr. Ko?
Yes, we do not have Korean majors or Korean studies department, so we only offer general elective courses.
Right. Yeah. So if Dr. Kim and Dr. Lee wish to share any numbers or figures briefly.
I don't know exactly how many credits required for Korean studies. If you want, can I send the curriculum of Sofia University, the Department of Korean Studies of Sofia University, and you can see in this table how many credits and how many subjects they have to take, and I can send you later.
I can also remember that credits. So after then, I will send you the document.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
it depends on the curriculum. Yes, Dr. Kim.
Yeah, one thing I want to say, in Eastern European countries, and the practical Korean language lectures are very important. We have 12, especially in Bulgaria. Yeah, we have 12 or 10 hours a week, practical Korean language. Yeah, and it's about more than 15 credits. Yeah.
We also have a business Korean program every year. It's a new trend in Vietnam, business Korean. Or they also published that kind of book in Vietnam, business Korean.
Okay, I think each country and also each institution, and also whether you are state institution or private institution, I think the curriculum really differs. For instance, when I visited University of Copenhagen, I was quite surprised and a bit envious because they have very extensive language classes for freshmen and sophomore. So when they reach the junior year, they're already fluent and they can aim exchange student program to go to Korea, and then they come back and they can plan something bigger afterwards. So depends on how many units or how many courses are offered in the institution. I think we can share some information if we receive from professors. Let's just answer one last question. So this is about EPS, Employment Permit System, if you're familiar with. I'm curious of Vietnam and Kazakhstan's current situation with Korean language education for foreign workers, because some overseas overseas laborers has to go through employment permit system, and they have to also take EPS topic. So in your countries, if you're familiar with any teachers or institutions that handle this EPS topic or sending out the employment to Korea.
I've heard that before. So my colleague teacher, she's a Vietnamese. She told me that that kind of a test in Vietnam, but most students who want to go to Korea for working, they go to special they go to special institution for learning Korean, and then after then they take a test. After they pass the exam, they go to Korea. But most that kind of job is kind of work at factory. I've heard that. So now many workers go to Korea, work at factory. But
Dr. Ko, are you
university
yes.
students don't want that kind of job. University students don't want that kind of job.
Yeah, different industries or different sectors, right? How about in Kazakhstan, if you're familiar with?
Yes, I heard of the EPS, and then we do have many local Kazakh citizens who are interested in finding employment in South Korea. Well, unfortunately, we don't have Korean language or Korean studies department, so I do not have direct observations of how people are engaging in EPS South Korea. But from other universities in Almaty, for example, they do have many Korean language courses. They have Korean language majors. One university, Ablaikan University of the World Language, they have 20 faculty members, around 20 faculty members within Korean Studies Department. And I think 4 or 5 are Korean national, and the rest of them are Kazakh national. So the faculty member are, in terms of nationality distribution, pretty much dominated by the local professors. Of course, some of them are ethnic Koreans, like a Korean Kazakhs. So they teach courses about Korean language, not just the basic languages, but also business language, or especially preparing for Korean language test, like TOPIK test. So, and before COVID-19, I heard that a lot of people from Uzbekistan also travel to Kazakhstan to take Korean language test to get the permit to work in South Korea. So we do have, well, the Almaty and Tashkent, Bishkek are very close in distance, so they can travel by bus or by taxi. So that's why I heard that many people from neighboring countries coming to Kazakhstan, or Kazakhstan people coming to neighboring countries to take the Korean language test for EPS. In terms of university-wise, I do not have much information in my institution.
Yes, thank you so much for 3 panelists to share all the insights, and then also your lived experiences from your respective countries. So before we wrap up, maybe we can just hear very quick last words if you wish to promote or anything, or you want to say something. Dr. Kim, as a closing remark. Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting, and I want to see your students give a lecture if possible, and I wish all of students to be happy and successful. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ko.
Yes, well, I really appreciate this, Dr. Bear, for organizing this event. I learn a lot. I hear a lot interesting stories from different countries, and I really, really look forward to meet again in person or in online for further discussions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lee.
Thank you, Dr. Bae, Dr. Kim, Dr. Go. I've learned many perspectives from your opinions, and I'd like to see your professors and your beautiful students again. Thank you. 고맙습니다.
감사합니다. Thank you so much, and likewise, I learned so much, and it's always really delightful to meet Korean studies professors from different continents, different countries, because we share the common stories, but all different stories at the same time. So a virtual round of applause to all our panels once again, and then we will just show the evaluation link here. So those who finished today's roundtable, you can just scan the QR, or you can just visit the link and just simply fill out the form, so you can receive the evaluation form via your email. And then UPKRC Korea Essay Contest is still ongoing until 31st July. So anyone who's interested can just submit their entries, and then we will screen the essays until the end of August, and then we will inform the winners. So this is it, and thank you so much for our 3 panelists. And then this is not the end, but this is the beginning of our collaboration, and hopefully our students can join your virtual events anytime you organize, and also someday we can really visit your countries in person, and we can meet and discuss further. 감사합니다. So this is it. Thank you everyone for joining us today.
감사합니다.
고맙습니다. Thank you.